Hi everyone, I'm really sorry, bad signal during the broadcast today. I hope that you can hear me and see me now. So I'm on the Spires today, so I thought I would just try and reassure you about the Spires being open and show you what our staff are doing. So I'm going to turn you around and let you see our lovely Grace. So this is the kind of equipment Grace would be wearing when you come in to have your baby. So you can see she's got a gown on, she's got a mask, she's got some safety glassware to wipe. Already we've got people in labour, and so she's just going to show you one of our assessment rooms just now, where you may come when you first come in labour. So you can see it's just a bed. There's some equipment in the corner, and we have an ensuite bathroom in each room. So thank you very much, Grace. We're going to go for a walk and see what else is around. Thank you. So this is me walking down the Spires. We have some birthing rooms. Again, they're lovely and bright. We've windows all the way around. And I'm coming down to the Waterperry room, which is one of our active birth rooms. And just show you that we have an active birth cube, and as you can see we have some equipment here, she says if I move it, that has pieces that come away so that you can adopt different upright positions in labour to help you be as mobile as possible. I can't show you into Wytham room just now because we've had a lady who has just given birth. But I can show you my colleague, the other consultant midwife, Emily, who's beavering away, trying to get lots of things done in preparation for you coming in. So, hi everyone. Take you around the unit. We have some more midwives in here who are working. It's one of our Lotus team midwives there. Hello. So that's our office space. We have a board with lots of baby photos. That you can choose to put your baby's story up here as well. The other two rooms that we have, big birthing rooms with pools in it, we have the Knowles suite, which is our suite that doesn't have any windows. But as you can see, we have some soft, lovely purpley pink lighting. We have the birthing pool over here, and we have various aids that we can use to help support you in labour. So it's a nice, calm environment. You have Bluetooth in these rooms to be able to play your music. We have ensuite toilets again, not the most exciting thing in the world to show you. And then we have Burcott room. Burcott and Wytham are very similar in terms of they're on the corner of the building. You can see that they are nice and bright. They have a birthing pool. There is a bed. We have our beds up quite high to discourage people from getting onto them. And again, we have an ensuite bathroom. So this is one of our other birthing rooms, and I'm just walking down the corridor in the Spires now, and we've been fortunate enough today we had a birth last night, and Catherine has agreed that she will meet with us to just talk about her experience. So if I knock the door now, we'll tell Catherine that we're coming in. Is it okay, Catherine? Okay, so this is Catherine and her son, and apparently there's a big brother at home as well. Yeah, there is. So Catherine, what do you think people would really like to know?
I think people would like to know that it's just business as usual really at the Spires. I think there's nothing to be worried about, and the midwives are wearing gowns and masks. But that's quite comforting actually, to know that you're being protected, and everyone's really kind and calm and supportive, so you'll be in really good hands.
Excellent. Oh, thank you for that. And as you can see, Catherine's sitting quite comfortably on one of our double beds, which we have so that you can stretch out and get comfortable and get some sleep before you go home to your life. Thank you for being part of this, Catherine, and good luck with your baby.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. So I've kind of given you a whistle-stop tour around the Spires. So we have 3 side rooms that we can use for a birth, and we have 3 birthing rooms that have a pool. And then we have various side rooms afterwards for a postnatal stay. So I'm going to take you back and hopefully answer some of your questions that you may have. I know some of you have said that you would like to see the rooms on delivery suite, and perhaps for another session I'll be able to show you delivery suite, but I'd have to run up and down the stairs, and I think you might find that quite boring if I did that just now. So I'm going to go back to my office and hopefully answer some of your questions that you may have. So if I look at the questions, we've got Tatovic. You are 34 weeks pregnant and you have a Arabin pessary. It should be removed on the 30th of April, and you should have some screening. What will be done in my case? So what will happen is that does take, they will contact you in advance and tell you what precautions that we need to take. And if your husband can highlight at the time that they call you, because you've said your English may not be strong enough for it, they can arrange a translator for you if required. So I think yours is a very specific case, but please be reassured that somebody will phone you before you come in to explain exactly what will happen at the time. Then we have a question from Victoria. Victoria, you've been told by your midwife that you need to self-isolate with your husband and whoever is looking after my other children for 2 weeks before your caesarean section. Is there any official documentation for this for my husband's work, as he's a key worker, in case they're funny about it, or someone more suitable to contact regarding this? In terms of your husband, because he is a key worker, he will be following the advice of his organisation, and he will be using patient protective equipment, personal protective equipment. So in his case, he is okay, and he can talk to his employer about that. But you know, it's mainly about making sure that if you don't have any symptoms and you don't come into contact with other people, and I appreciate that's difficult for him if he's a key worker, but it may be worth if you could message Maternity Voices, and I can talk to you specifically about that. Leanne, you've asked about the delivery suite downstairs. Hopefully I'll be able to do that next time, as has Yvonne. Elizabeth, I hope you managed to get your computer working. And thank you for the nice messages for Catherine, congratulating her on the birth of her baby. Nicola, you've asked, if you decide to deliver on the Spires or delivery suite, does the same rule apply that your partner won't be able to come? Sorry, I'm just trying to see the rest of that sentence. In at the start until 5 centimetres dilated. Nicola, we ask, it is the same wherever you birth your baby, including Wallingford, including the Horton, all of our Cotswold maternity unit. We ask that your partner doesn't stay with you until you're deemed to be in established labour. Now, for some people that may be from 2 or 3 centimetres, and from other women it may be 5 centimetres or more. But it's when we deem you to be in established labour and require one-to-one care from the midwife. Sorry. Christina, you saw the comment about 2 weeks self-isolation. You're going to have an induction. We tend to advise a week before the induction, that people are more careful about going out and about. And again, the same would be apply that your husband's a doctor working in a hospital. So, I mean, I think the general advice that's coming from the hospital is a week of self-isolation prior to planned induction and planned caesarean section, because we are also aware that pregnant women have been self-isolating for a while. Key workers, obviously they still needed to go to work, and we hope that they are following their PPE requirements to keep themselves as safe as possible. So Grace, you said, hello, the Spires looks amazing. Am I right to think that if you're under consultant, that you cannot use the Spires? Thanks, Grace. Grace, it depends in different ways. If you have gestational diabetes and it is managed with diet, and you aren't needing to have additional drugs to help manage your blood sugars, then you can still come and birth on the Spires. Regarding your bleeding, it depends the reason that you bled the last time, and if you're unsure, if you contact your community midwife and discuss with them, we may be able to review and see whether the Spires is an option for you. And then my Russian days have gone beyond me. I'm trying to think how to pronounce your name. Apologies. It says you're 1 day over your due date, no signs whatsoever of labour, and I don't have a midwife appointment coming up. Was told that a midwife might contact me at some point, but I'm worried that given the situation I might be left alone. I'm afraid about being overdue. Your midwife, you should see your community midwife when you're 41 weeks pregnant. If you haven't got a plan to see your midwife for when you're 41 weeks pregnant, please contact your community midwife and make sure that they have you for your contact details. Kerry, you've asked, are all 36-week scans cancelled now? Kerry, not all scans are cancelled. Some scans have to continue. Again, if you have a scan planned and they're going to cancel it, somebody will phone you and explain why they're cancelling it. Elizabeth, you have said you're 20 weeks pregnant with your third baby, and you've had preeclampsia and early births before, and you looking to be under consultant care, and you're just worried about not having been seen by now and being forgotten. What we will do is get you to privately message your details, and we can chase that up to make sure that you haven't been forgotten. I'm sure you haven't, but let's double check because you are concerned. Prem, you said what scans are cancelled? Midwife just cancelled without explanation. If you are on growth scan pathway A, and your scans have been all right to date, and there's no problems about where your placenta might be located, it is likely that your 36-week scan would be cancelled. If you're on, for example, growth scan pathway D, it's because they have identified that there was the potential to be a problem, and so they want to continue to look at the baby. If the midwife is concerned when she measures your tummy that the baby isn't growing the way she wants it to grow, then she may request a scan for you, and they will consider that. So it's not that we're stopping scans, we're just trying to only do the ones we feel that we really need to do. So I feel somebody's probably looked at your scan results from previously and aren't concerned about the growth of your baby, and that's why it's been cancelled. Yvonne, you've asked, do you think restrictions will be lifted before the end of May? At present, Yvonne, I'm not sure that it will be. I think we have to plan that this is going to continue at least into June. Oh, thank you for all your positive comments. I'm glad that you liked the tour. It's always very difficult to see whether you can see what I'm seeing, especially when it tells me my connection got lost. you just like to ask, you're struggling with pain under your ribs, you're 33 weeks pregnant. However, you phoned the midwife and they've advised you not to come in and get checked out, and you're wondering that it might be signs of preeclampsia as you had a migraine too. I think the common signs of preeclampsia are having a headache across the front of your eyes and having visual disturbances. I presume the risk assessment your midwife has done with you has reassured her that your symptoms aren't a preeclampsia. But if you are concerned, you could phone our maternity assessment unit for advice, and you should find the number on the inside of your blue notes. Anam, sorry, it's much more difficult on the phone than it was on my computer. It's not going to let me see the rest of your comment. Oh. I'm so sorry, Anam, you may have to post your question again because I can't see the whole of your question. Yvonne, you've said, if my mum is looking after my daughter, does she need to isolate? Hold on, now I'm all confused. Let me go back to Yvonne and come back. Oh, you go love technology. Right, I'm going to go back to Anam because I can now see her comment. You've said you're talking about you're having your second baby without any symptoms or complications. You're saying that we don't have any appointments before 16 weeks. So you want to know what's happening about appointments for second babies. And this should be available on our maternity website. So if you go into Oxford University Hospitals, go to M for maternity, it will take you in and you will see an up-to-date plan of what we're going to be able to provide. We'll also be posting a frequently asked questions guide shortly today to try and answer other concerns that people will have, and we'll share our antenatal pathways with you. So sorry, back to Yvonne. So you've asked Yvonne, your mum is going to look after your daughter, does she need to isolate? Also, when I pick my daughter up, is mum allowed to meet the baby? Yvonne, that is very much at your discretion. We advise you to socially distance, and so generally people wouldn't come into contact with their parents, but this is exceptional circumstances. Yes, I would encourage your mum to self-isolate so that she's reducing the risk of infection to you and your daughter. But really, families are going to have to make individual arrangements, but what we do is for everybody to come in contact with you. So I think if your mother is isolating, then yes, I think she's obviously going to be handing your daughter back to you, so she could meet. But obviously you have to follow the government precautions for other things. Katie, you've got a quick question about appointments. You've got a 16-week appointment next week, and you've seen the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists guidance on that. And basically our pathway is following the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists guidance. I haven't got the pathway in front of me, and as my computer didn't work earlier, I can't load it up to double check for you. But where possible, we are trying to do phone call appointments and not do face-to-face appointments. But there are obviously some crucial appointments that we do need to face-to-face, and we hope people will still attend them because we need to be able to assess you and your baby to make sure that you're all well. So Paula, you're 40 weeks pregnant this Friday, and just wondering how long your husband will be able to stay with us after a birth. Apparently you may have lost me. I'm not sure. I'll move around trying to find signal. I hope you can still hear me. Your husband anybody's husband or birth partner will be able to stay with them in the birth environment until they need to move on to another ward. So if they need to, if the baby's born in a delivery suite before they move up to level 7 or level 5, the partners would go home, they wouldn't follow. If you're in Wallingford and you're choosing to stay overnight, when you get transferred into the postnatal bed in Wallingford, then your partner would go home. The same would apply with Horton. Cotswold Maternity Unit, you'd be discharged the same day. So it really is, we're not throwing you out as soon as the baby's been born. We're trying to enable you to have that time together, because we appreciate when you move on to the next ward, then your partners are going to have to go home. You've also asked about how much baby stuff you should bring into hospital and how long you'll stay for. If you have no complications and you're feeling confident and baby's feeding okay, you can go home the same day. We advise you to bring a car seat with you, so that you can go home with the baby. We ask you to please bring the bare minimum into hospital when you come in. You know, enough for you to last for about 24 hours should you need to stay in for that day. And I think last time I did a session, people asked, well, what happened if you run out of stuff? Your partner could bring more belongings to you if you needed them, if you run out of them, but obviously they'd have to leave them at reception and somebody could go down and pick them up. So I hope that answers your questions. Sarah, you've asked if you've got an obstetrician appointment on the 23rd of April. Is it likely to go ahead? Sarah, they will, if it's, some of the consultations are happening via video link, some are happening by telephone, and sometimes the obstetrician has to see you. If you're not required to come to the hospital, somebody will call you and let you know. But what we're trying to do is we've got lots of people making phone calls the whole time, trying to make sure that you know what's happening with your individual appointments. So Emily, you're 39 weeks pregnant, and you and your partner don't drive, and your mum is going to drop you off at the hospital and pick you up. Is that still okay? Yes, Emily, it is still okay, but we would ask your mum to be self-isolating as you are, to minimise the risk of infection and exposure from other people. So we now have another question about, you understand midwives are now based at JR rather than the GP practice, so don't have contact with them really. So there should be a contact number on the inside of your folder. When your midwife booked you, she would give you a contact phone number for them. We have some midwives based still in GP surgeries and some based in the John Radcliffe Hospital. If you're having problems reaching your midwife, if you phone the maternity assessment unit, they will try to signpost you to how you can get the information. But ideally, have a look on the inside of your front cover. There should be a list that you got of which midwifery team that you're based under and what their contact details are. So Sarah, you're 23 weeks pregnant with your first baby. Your next midwife appointment is 28 weeks. Is there any antenatal online classes as yet, or is there going to be, or shall I book some private ones? Sarah, we are really excited to tell you that we are going to try and do something similar to this, though hopefully less bodged like I'm doing today. We're going to be providing some antenatal classes via Facebook, and if the Maternity Voices are happy to post it on their Facebook page, which I think they are, we're looking at providing antenatal classes, infant feeding classes, and hoping that we can do something in terms of promoting mental health, good positive mental health, and helping you to cope with isolation. So please keep an eye on the Maternity Voices Facebook page for more information, and hopefully I'll be publishing the dates and times within the next few days. So Jess, Jess, you were asking about appointments with anaesthetists still going ahead? I'm so sorry, I'm trying to see this. And you were told that you would need one, but you haven't heard anything. Again, Jess, people are contacting you to arrange appointments. Some of those can be via video link or telephone, and some they will have to see you in person. If you haven't heard from your anaesthetist, if you contact your community midwife, she can help to chase that for you. Elizabeth, you've asked about more higher risk pregnancies and Silver Star ladies still being admitted as normal if they're pregnancy complications, or are they urging people to just stay home? We're treating everybody the same, Elizabeth. So if you have a concern, or if we're concerned about you, we will assess you to see where the best place is for you to be. If we feel it's safer for you to be in hospital, then we'll admit you to hospital. But otherwise we would discharge you home. And please, no question is silly, so please do ask if you have concerns. Carly, you're 26 weeks pregnant with your second baby and planning a home birth. Are home births being encouraged still, and do you think they'll still be going ahead in July? Carly, we are doing everything we can to make sure that we're still providing a full service, including home births. So yes, we are still encouraging them. You know, in terms of what will happen in July, this is an evolving picture, and as long as we can keep our staff well and at work, then we should be able to still continue to provide home birth. But I think our message is much the same as the government. Please encourage people to adopt social distancing and to stay at home, especially this weekend. It's Easter weekend, people want to get out and about, and people are starting to get bored of being at home. It is really important that people continue to do that so that we can keep everyone as safe as possible. We can keep our midwives at work, we can still provide the choice that we're providing at the minute. Kelsey, you're 36 weeks and 5 days pregnant, and you've got a plan to be induced at 41 weeks. You've currently got an appointment at 38+4 with your community midwife. Should you delay this appointment so that you're able to have a stretch and sweep at term? Kelsey, what you'll find is that from your appointment at 38+4 weeks, because the next appointment your midwife would see you would be at 41 weeks, if you're being induced at 41 weeks, you won't be able to have that appointment. So I think it's acceptable in your situation for your midwife to do your stretch and sweep. We want to enable every woman to have one stretch and sweep before they have their induction, so that would be your opportunity. Kate, I'm 41+4. Will someone help me carry my bags and baby etc. down to the doors to meet your husband when you're discharged, I presume? Yes, Kate, we promise we're not going to leave you to do all of that on your own. We've been doing some amazing work in our postnatal ward, and we have staff there to support you, so that we can help you down to meet your partner. So Christina, you have planned for your husband to bring you food during your induction. Because you remember last time diabetic food options were not very appropriate, but now as no one can visit, is it possible to bring food and store it in a fridge? Christina, in these extraordinary times, we will do everything that we can to help support you. We will do everything we can to help support you, to enable you to have the right food to manage your condition. So if it means that we have to help you with fridge space, then I'm sure that we can help you with that. Kate, you're asking about discharge, and do you need to bring the car seat into the John Radcliffe with you, or does your partner keep it? We would ask you when your partner, for women who are planning to go home on the same day, then if the car seat is in the car, your partner can go out to the car to get the car seat and bring that to you. If you're being discharged the following day, again, although it will be more running about, then your partner can go and your partner can drop the car seat off at reception. Somebody can pick it up, bring it. In fact, I'm going to change that. What happens is that we take the baby down with you in the cot and we can put the baby in the car seat at the door. Sorry, everything is evolving and changing, and it'll probably have changed by tomorrow. But generally, we're trying to get you to minimise people coming in and out of the hospital and what we do. So in my recollection is we accompany you to the door with the baby, and your partner can put the baby in the car seat then, and you can take baby home. I had a message from Oxford Maternity Voices Partnership to say that they're happy to host whatever they can to help women. So please keep looking at their website, especially over the next few days, and we can work out how we can best support you and put things on. I suspect there won't be anything for the rest of this week because it's the Easter weekend, but I'm hoping there'll be something from next week. So I have somebody ask me the question of if they're still induced, can they use the Spires? And so in that question, we do try and enable women who are otherwise suitable for the Spires, that if they are induced and go into labour without needing to have the hormone drip to help with the contractions, then they will still go to the Spires. So we had a lady on, I don't know whether it was Monday or Tuesday this week, exactly the same thing. She came in to be induced and she came up here and had a water birth. You've also asked about head-to-toe checks happening when you're in hospital, and what will happen to the baby. We will make sure that we've checked the baby properly before you go home, because we are aware that there are decreased resources at GP surgeries, and we may have the opportunity with some clinics that we're running in community to do it, but we will ultimately make sure that your baby still has the appropriate checks at the right time. And you're also asking about midwives and postnatal care and what will happen. Are they still visiting at the same times? Again, we're going to publish that information so that that's much clearer for you, but things will be done on an individual basis. So to assess you the day you've gone home via telephone to work out when is the most appropriate time to see you. You will have a day 5 appointment, and then we will make assessments as to whether you need to be seen again before then or after then. So please be reassured, we want to keep you all as safe as possible, and we will be in contact by phone. Thank you so much for all your positive comments. I haven't read them all out because I get very embarrassed. This is not my most do. Kreutz has said, I'm 32 weeks and my 20-week growth scan, the midwife mentioned I'll need the growth scan at 36 weeks, but she put me on pathway A. My scan is on the 7th of May. Is it likely to get cancelled? Please be aware that there is the possibility, if they're happy with the growth of your baby from the midwife's perspective and everything is otherwise okay, it is likely that your scan will be cancelled at 36 weeks. But somebody will be in touch with you to make sure that that's okay. Kate, you're being induced this weekend, and you've got syringes of frozen colostrum. Should you bring them in with me? So previously in the past, we have said to people when they have colostrum frozen to just bring in a couple of syringes that we can keep in the fridge. Now, this is a question that I think is really good to raise, and I'm going to, as I've done before, I'm going to go away and find out the questions from the infant feeding team, because I'm not sure if we have freezer capacity to be able to store frozen colostrum. And obviously with reducing people coming up and down to the hospital, I need some advice on that from them. So I promise you, look for the results. I will talk to the infant feeding team and post that in the next day or two so that you've got that information before the weekend. Amelia, you're 28 weeks pregnant and had your 28-week check with your midwife yesterday, and you're due in July. The midwife said to you yesterday that she felt the baby was a bit bigger, and she's referred you for a scan to the John Radcliffe Hospital. And you've had a glucose tolerance test and you're all fine, and so that should be reassuring. But what they will do is they will review your scan request and decide whether or not it needs to be done. It may be that they just you've had a particular growth spurt and they'll ask the midwife to assess you again at your next check. But if they offer you a scan, they'll bring you up again for the scan. But generally, if your glucose tolerance test has been negative and you're all right, you will grow the right size of baby for you. And if baby's otherwise not meant to have a problem, then it should be fine. But we're always better to err on the side of caution. So if the midwife wants to refer you for a scan, the scan department will review it and decide whether or not it's appropriate to do and let you know. Gemma, you missed the tour and joined late. It is sadly available on Facebook because I get to see my face again, which is not a good look. But yes, you can revisit it, just like any of our films. So if you can't attend and see our antenatal classes when we host them, by doing it on live Facebook, it means it's available for you to watch back. A few more questions. Maria, if I'm induced, my partner would drop me off, but then if I go to the ward before delivery, how will I know when to contact my partner? Please, none of these questions, nobody should ever think they're silly. These are important questions, and if you're thinking them, somebody else will have as well. You will be able to contact your partner and speak to your partner if you have a phone with you. And when the midwife says that she's going to transfer you to delivery suite, then you would notify your partner and tell them that that's the time to come in, or if you go to the Spires. So you know, there will generally be time for that to happen, and your midwife will talk you through with that. We're hoping to do a session where you'll meet one of our induction midwives next week via Facebook. She'll talk about the process with you and hopefully provide some reassurance. Natasha, unfortunately, as we talked about previously, you can't use your phones to record the heartbeat or record the scans during the time. What we are providing is free photos for you to take home to your partners afterwards. We appreciate that that's not as great as them being able to see it on a mobile phone device, but the ultrasonographers have received guidance from their professional body that said that we shouldn't be letting people use mobile phones. So we're very sorry about that. Hopefully the photograph is a small consolation, wrong word, consolation even. Natalie, you've asked about being able to donate your placenta for blood banking at this time. I'm not aware that there's anything like that happening at this time. If you have an information leaflet about it, you could contact them, but I'm not aware that that's happening within the unit. Amelia, you've said that you're 28 weeks pregnant, producing lots of milk. Is this normal? Yes, everybody is very different. Some people don't feel that they have any colostrum in their breast, and other people produce ample. If you have it and it's leaking, you can freeze it in the Spire. You can put it in the freezer and save it for afterwards. You've asked, are we still going to be doing tours of the Spires? We won't be running any tours of the Spires during this pandemic. But if you see my haphazard run round the spires at the beginning of this film, you can see some of the rooms there. And I think that's all the questions that have popped up on my phone just now. I'm sorry it's been a little bit more haphazard than before, but clearly my laptop just didn't want to work today. I hope you are all keeping well and still managing to self-isolate. And if you have any other questions, then hopefully we'll be able to answer some more on Friday. And maybe next week we can have a look at delivery suite instead, for those of you that are planning to birth there. But remember, there are films available on our maternity website. Those are home birth and midwifery led unit births, but please do have a look at those. So I can hear the pool is filling, so we have another woman about to come in and labour, so I will go off and make sure that they're all right and don't need some help. So take care of yourself everyone, and I will catch up with you soon. Bye.